the Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Salute to Ye. Real talk. Let's move along in the conversation. We get ready to get on this Pooh Shiesty, Gucci Mane news. We're going to break it down. I'm going to play a few of the celebrities and their reactions to this. But before I get into that commentary, I want to play this update from Lil Durk while he was in prison because it's just necessary at this time. And I think that hearing his ideology can help the youth. Real talk.
I just want to give y'all just an update on my mind state. I just been reading to get into these books, just working on my patience. I've been reading Pawns in the Game by William Gackar, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, Elaine Brown, just all the revolutionaries, who've been through something and stand for something that a lot of people don't know of or forgot about. And I just been, it's just been sitting on my heart lately to just save the generation, bro. Save these kids. They don't deserve it. I'm just tired of being a pawn for the culture, entertaining and being ignorant, you know what I'm saying? I want to change the world around to being positive. I want to start with saying, like, when it comes to support, I'd be cool because, when JayZ went through his situation, he the people's champ. They turned their back on him. Even Drake and Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be the first one to just do it, you know what I'm saying? And not saying the first one to do it, but, for these kids, we got to be their heroes. You know what I'm saying? They got to look up to us in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people ain't gonna like it. If you can't make money off of it, they ain't gonna like it. So I'm gonna be the first one to do it. Revolutionary.
What I'm about to say, the youth may be disgruntled with what I'm about to say, but I was you before you was you. And now I'm me, the evolved version. Save the kids is important. The message that he's trying to put out now is a message that he could have put out before he even got locked up. But the peer pressure, the relationship with your partners that's currently in the streets, the ego, the need to feel validated, the need to feel respected, the need to, be accepted is powerful. People take lives and commit crimes based upon the need to feel accepted and respected. Durk is locked up for a serious situation, and if he's guilty of that situation, man, he just gotta hold his nuts and do what he gotta do. He spoke about being a pawn for the culture. That resonated with me in a way that I didn't think it would, because majority of these people that's signed under these labels, the label want more of the negative stuff, more of the street stuff. They want more of the stuff that is going to tear down the community and keep funding them and bringing value to their pockets. It's sad. It's sad that these boys getting up this type of bag. The Pooh Shiesties, the YNW Mellies. I'm just sick of it, to be honest with you. And young niggas, man, you can do better, man. By the grace of God, I made it out of those streets. Real talk. That's all it could have been. It wasn't me. I can't give myself no credit about being smart, about moving with structure and looking in the rearview mirror and always being nervous and all of that. By the grace of God, I made it out of those streets, because far and few do. Now we about to move along. The news was breaking about Pooh Shiesty. I ain't got too many clips though to present this topic or whatever though. But when the news was breaking about Pooh and Gucci, I was kind of, tripping off of this, because I remember conversations me and my partners used to have on the corners and in the streets all the time if somebody did us dirty in a record deal. Let's get to it.
9 suspects involved in the robbery and kidnapping of rapper Gucci Mane have been arrested. Officials say the alleged ringleader behind the attack was rapper Pooh Shiesty. Our Preseda Olguin has been on top of this story and has the latest.
Aside from learning that the ninth and final suspect has been arrested, we've been able to obtain video which shows the FBI at Pooh Shiesty's home the day he was arrested. Take a look at that video. This happened in Memphis. Federal authorities say Shiesty was the ringleader behind the attack on Gucci Mane here in Dallas. That incident happened back in January at a music studio located off Dallas Parkway. The DOJ says Gucci Mane and 2 others were allegedly kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint. They say 9 people were involved, including Pooh Shiesty's father and Big 30. For background, Pooh Shiesty signed on to Gucci Mane's record label back in 2020. And according to the DOJ, Pooh Shiesty is the one who set up the meeting to discuss his recording contract.
As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items.
Pooh Shiesty was released from federal prison in October and was placed on home confinement for a previous conviction, meaning that it's likely he was wearing an ankle monitor at the time of the crime. Officials say all 9 suspects will be transported here to North Texas, where they will face their crimes. Now, if convicted, each suspect can face life in prison. For now, reporting in Dallas, Priscilla Holguin, CBS News, Texas.
You know, I'm going to give y'all a little story before I give my take about that, because me being from Tennessee, that ideology that Pooh Shiesty has is regular shit in the streets. You know, I can remember a time when I used to hear about Ice Cube getting $30,000 to do that platinum album for NWA, and he was complaining about his contract. I remember a time when I heard Suge Knight hanging Vanilla Ice over the balcony to sign over Ice Ice Baby so he could start Death Row. I remember a time hearing about Suge Knight confronting Eazy-E and beating him up and doing all type of things to him to get Dr. Dre out of his contract. I remember hearing BG and Juvenile complain about the Birdman and just things early on in my life when I was a young boy. So we used to sit on the porch in the hood and talk about if I got a deal and somebody did me dirty on my contract, or they beat me out my contract, or they got me in a bad situation. I hope y'all heard what I'm saying. Beat me, get me in a bad situation. It's just, you know, I'm not taking responsibility for my actions. And the youth seldom do, because they want to get noticed. They want to become famous. They want to get that record deal so they can put their best out there. But we used to talk about what we would do to our CEOs or to the person who had us in contracts if they ever did us like that. You can't make $100 million off of me and have me in $1 million contract for 15 years. I'm going to react like something that the world has never seen before. And we were saying this in the late 90s, 98, 99. And now it finally has happened. The time has come. You know, it was rumors for this earlier on this year. I was like, Pooh Shiesty didn't do that. You know, I was like, he ain't been out a month. He didn't do that. He couldn't have did Gucci like that. You know, Gucci was on Big Facts podcast with Big Bank talking about how excited he was for him and Fujiano to come home. He didn't do that. He couldn't have did that. So the news break, the feds done broke into Covington, Tennessee, and done picked Pooh Shiesty, his father, and all type of people up. 9 individuals. People catching a Greyhound from Memphis. If a nigga asks you to get in a Greyhound and meet me in another state to commit a crime, a Greyhound, I had to let it breathe, man. A Greyhound. That's crazy. It's just, you know, thinking about this situation, I just didn't believe it at first. And now it's allegations about Gucci being a snitch when it was a retired police officer that's his security guard on site. What y'all think? He's scared to take the stand? He's the one that's going to take the stand. And he was hired to take the stand. Let me tell y'all something. A former street nigga like me, like myself, if I hire a security guard, he got to be ex-military or he got to be ex-police because he has the license to kill. And, you know, if I'm taking care of him, paying him well, treating him right, and he got the license to kill, he ain't going to do nothing but take the stand for me in court and to keep representing me because I'm taking care of his family. I'm providing for his children, his wife. His well-being is kept up under me, and it's legal for him to do what he do. Now, I got more clips I want to play. You know, this is a legal situation. Signing a contract is interesting. We're going to dive deeper into contracts. I remember when I used to do the Two Brothers podcast with my boy Troy. Every week we would talk about niggas disgruntled about the contract. It's as if, you know, coming from that lifestyle to a legal lifestyle, brothers don't understand contracts and they sign things that they don't totally agree with. Then they react in this type of manner. Let's listen to the Lawyers for Workers. I think this individual, he got famous around the Tekashi 6ix9ine case when he was up against Treyway and everything, and he just been viral on YouTube since. But let's see what this lawyer had to say.
Let me tell you the difference between a lawyer and a non-lawyer. Non-lawyers think the truth is what they know. Hey, I know this. This is the truth. I could see it. You know what lawyers think the truth is? It's what you could prove in a court of law. When a Fed writes an affidavit saying witnesses told him this, this, and this, and so the defendant is guilty of a crime, that does not make the defendant guilty of a crime. When those witnesses take the stand and give sworn testimony under oath with the defendant in the box and 12 jurors on the side, now you have evidence, you have sworn testimony. We are far from that. Look, I'm not saying this case is getting beat, this case is getting won, this case is this case is that. What I'm saying is you have to look at what the government is telling you and look at what the government is showing you. And then you have to start playing the game. That's all. The idea that there's a video of Pooh Shiesty holding a gun and pointing it at Gucci Mane and saying, sign this contract, has been proven to be demonstrably false. That is not on video. If it was, he would have been cooked a long time ago.
That's true, because if that video came out and he got the Drake to go up head, get him out of here. But I'm going to tell y'all something about the state of Tennessee too. You can kill your partner, get out on bond, or you might maximum get 5 years. You can get caught with a half a chicken and they'll throw you away. You know, in those Republican states, they don't care about the violence and the crimes because, you know, they are the ones that's for the gun laws and the gun rights. They're going around in Walmart with the choppers on their back. They might got the clip out, but the choppers out in public, 50 cows and all of that. Pooh Shiesty coming home. I'm just telling y'all like it is. The only way I can see Pooh Shiesty getting a significant amount of time is if that former officer take the stand or some video come out, and just like that lawyer said, ain't no video coming out, and it's in a Republican state, the state of Tennessee. No. Man, if I could tell y'all some of the stories, I wouldn't want to waste y'all time that I know from close friends of mine getting killed. I'm going to tell y'all something right quick. I had one of my partners get killed by somebody who just bonded out for a murder the day before. He bonded out of a murder and got out on bond and killed somebody the next day and went back to jail. Why is these laws so loose like this? That's what my thoughts was. Like, why is the law so loose like this? He was upset because his girl was messing with my partner, and then my partner is gone now. The laws for violence is loose in Tennessee. That's all I want to say, and I feel like Pooh Shiesty is coming home. Real talk. You know, it's a podcast that I watch, you know, with Rachel, Higher Learning, and Van Latham. They was talking about this, and they gave a great perspective on it also.
What I do know is I just have so many questions. Number one, how in the fuck did they think they were going to get away with this? I have a question for people out there. my young brothers that's in the streets still doing their thing. Do you want to get away? I'm serious. Like it because growing up, I didn't know very many people who pulled a jug or did something, was involved in something, and then like went to the police and went, hey, I killed somebody. Or just like, look, do you know people that like took a chain and then flexed the chain? Yeah. Do you know people that would run off at the mouth about shit that they had did? Yeah. But there was a thought when I was growing up that once guys did a crime, that they wanted to get away with the crime. That the point of the crime was to get whatever resources that you got from the crime and then not go to jail.
Caught. Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
You know, at that time that Van Lathan is talking about, attention wasn't the currency. We was dealing with, in our time, a lack of resources, and we hustled for resources. In my hustling days, I hustled because I wanted to remove myself from the environment. Now, a lot of people will be like, Trail, why did you want to remove yourself from your own people? Because we're in a state where the foundation of Black Americans is talking about delineating from other ethnicities and all of that. And that's a valid conversation. But I wanted to remove myself because I didn't like my environment. My people wanted less of me. They wanted to hinder me. I used to see brothers on child support losing their life, and the U.S. Marshals coming to pick brothers up, brothers shooting each other, killing each other, the police killing brothers. I had to remove myself from that environment. It just wasn't for me. But I removed myself through the hustle. The hustle was a necessity. A lot of people don't hustle for necessity. A lot of people hustle because they're in competition with others. So by it being a necessity, I needed food. I needed clothes. I needed to pay bills so I could have air conditioner, lights, power, water, and to get myself in a situation so I could work and better my life and better my situation. Times have changed, and I don't think people realize that, because the currency is attention. Pooh Shiesty got out of jail, released that first day out, and he didn't even release no more material. He probably have material saved up, and whoever is running his estate need to hurry up and release that material while he has the world's attention, because that is what's going to make him the most money, even though that money going to go back to Gucci. Damn, boy. You did a bad business situation. This was bad business. You release anything now that is going to make a significant amount of money, all of that attention currency that you was hustling for, all that money going to go back to Guwap. Damn.
Gucci Mane got robbed and didn't tell nobody but the law. I told y'all, man, people who are paying goddamn taxes and law-abiding citizens, man, ain't nobody coming to hear that shit. Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, come here. That shit dead. Robbing people, trying to goddamn extort. That shit dead. Gucci Mane done what he was supposed to do. Put the laws in them niggas' lives. What Gucci Mane and his team been working behind the scene effortless.
That was funny and everything, but I don't think that was reality, because we don't know the truth. That's why he should have put allegedly behind that, because he's saying Gucci Mane put the laws on him. No, Gucci brought the law with him when he was trying to do that legal transaction. He brought the law with him. You know, when you're dealing in, it's a such thing as street smart. And a lot of these people are street ignorant. But, you know, y'all value those type of guys. Gucci Mane was moving street smart. He's a tax-paying citizen When you start to pay taxes, you realize that the police is your protection. You don't have anything to hide from them. Real spill. What's crazy about all of this and everything that's going on is that business contracts is the main conversation. But what Pooh Shiesty tried to do to get out of his contract, it just wasn't smart. Pooh Shiesty was hotter than fish grease. You know, before he went to jail, I didn't perceive him to be as rich as he looked once he got out of jail. And he was riding around in those Ferraris and doing the money spread and all of that, the Maybachs, and he had all type of stuff with one record. He was going on $1 million worth of game flexing. It made me feel like something ain't right. Something ain't right. He had a good 6-month run though, but little buddy, I feel sorry for you, to be honest with you. Now, when we talk about business acumen in hip hop, it's no way that we can't mention JayZ. You know, it was some Caucasian individuals on the podcast talking about JayZ as of recently. Now, if I was Gucci, he went to Dallas. He went to handle his business with Pooh Shiesty on Pooh Shiesty's time and Pooh Shiesty's comfort. Do you think the Caucasian Jewish man that runs Universal Music Group or runs Warner Brothers or runs Atlantic Records or runs any of these record labels would have did anything to make sure that they put you in a convenient situation? No. You're going to come up to this 60th floor without your partners, and we're going to handle the business right here. Gucci Mane made it convenient for him. But, you know, the ideology of Gucci as a businessman and JayZ as a businessman is two totally different things.
Well, you know, what you didn't know in the 90s about Jay is that he had this whole other part of his brain that was developing and in high gear, which is the business side of him. And, you know, saying, I want my masters back in a song. And
he knew that right away?
How in the 90s. But how it impacted every other artist. What you're seeing today is a lot of when Jay wrote those. Prince and Jay lit that fire.
Yeah. Well, but from the beginning, did he know
Prince understood it. Jay actually made it happen.
How did Jay know to do that?
I don't know. He was a great from the beginning maybe because he was a drug dealer, so he understood the economics. Always.
He was always thinking the economics.
Well, he was a businessman as a kid, and he understood the economics of the street.
Wow.
You know, they minimized it by saying just because he's a drug dealer, because it's smart ones and it's dumb ones. Throughout my whole life, I wanted to become a successful artist. I've released 15 albums. Go check out the playlist if y'all want to hear some of the records or whatever. I got some phenomenal records. But I've always been independent because I don't see the benefit in signing a contract if it's not of my best interest. Long term, you know, it could be good to make you popular in the short term, but financially it's going to hinder you more than it's going to help you. So I would have liked to done business with record labels and things though, but as a former hustler myself, I feel like it's not in my best interest. I don't want to be doing the things that Pooh Shiesty out here doing. I don't want to be one of these artists in complete debt. Some label done took a loan out on me, got me signing contracts, and now I'm $50 million in debt. No. That's just not smart, man. JayZ is an unprecedented businessman. Gucci Mane has done phenomenal for himself also. Pooh Shiesty was hotter than fish grease, and he let that street mind take him completely out the game. Completely out the game. I don't have a dog in the fight. I would like to see this young brother come home. But when he do come home, which I feel like will be in 5 years or less, I hope he changes his mind. Real talk.
My DM Rose, what you think or how you feel about the Guwap Pooh Shiesty situation? I don't like it for either side. You know what I'm talking about? Guwap most definitely didn't deserve that, and I don't want to see this for the little homie Pooh Shiesty, but this one niggas gotta be educated and understand. In business, you gotta negotiate, my nigga. You gotta negotiate. If you were signed for $100K and now you got 10 M's on the table, it's time to negotiate. This how we do this. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody win. Let's go. That's how I gotta go, my nigga. You can't muscle your way out of no shit and no business. It don't go that way. And I ain't just talking about on the people side, but on the other side, the blitz gonna come. You can't run from it, homie. That's the way it goes. Negotiate. It's time to educate. I want to see young hustlers from the South win. I want to see it. There was a time I got Gotti and Guwap on the phone.
Listening to Rick Ross give me a crazy perspective, and I'm closing it out with this take, this conversation on Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane. Listening to Rick Ross, it was a time to negotiate. It was a time to say that, you know, I've been locked up. It's been people coming to me telling me that I'm worth this, telling me that they would give me this for that. And Gucci, you know, you my nigga. I know you looking out for my best interest and everything, but I'm home now. I have a different expectation for my life. And now that I have this different expectation, we have to do a different type of negotiation. Young niggas, this is what I want to convey in closing to this. Learn how to articulate yourself. Learn how to communicate with your elders. Learn how to talk to your lady. Continuously learn and educate yourself so you won't be a disadvantage when you communicating with somebody else. So you won't have to react with violence because you don't understand what's going on. You can't compute, so you ready to shoot.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.